Welcome back to the Navigating the Future with Generative AI series. I'm your host, Yannick Hushard, and this is episode 5. In our previous episodes, we've touched upon various aspects of generative AI. Now, let's dive into an even bigger picture: how this technology is becoming the new currency of power. But what if it's not just a company wielding this ability? What if an entire nation could print productivity by harnessing intelligence at scale? This isn't just some far-off dream. It's gaining momentum in the real world. All this has come in a concrete form with the announcement of an unimaginable $500 billion investment in artificial intelligence infrastructure. Mind you, this amount excludes the 331 billion euros independently committed by industry titans like Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, xAI, and Apple. This massive agreement, spearheaded by a partnership between the CEOs of OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. Their joint venture, named Stargate, aims to build the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of advancements in AI, creating colossal data centers across the United States and promising to yield over 100,000 jobs. France and Europe, not to be outdone, responded swiftly. Now let's pivot our attention across the Atlantic to the other big players. You see that at the AI Action Summit in Paris in February 2025, French President Emmanuel Macron announced a commitment of 109 billion euros in AI projects for France alone. After this big announcement, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen launched Invest AI, an initiative to mobilize a staggering 200 billion euros for investment in AI across Europe, including a specific 20 billion euro fund for AI gigafactories. Now, these massive investments on both sides of the Atlantic show a clear objective. It signals the highest level of commitment and reflects understanding that translates into one reality. Being a civilization left behind is simply out of the question. But the stakes in this global AI game are constantly rising. If the US and Europe thought they were holding strong hands, China, arguably the most mature AI nation, has just raised the pot. So, let's not forget about the Eastern world. I am talking about China, setting up a national venture capital guidance fund of 1 trillion yuan, approximately 126.7 billion euros. This fund, that was announced by the National Development and Reform Commission, aims to nurture strategic emerging industries and futuristic technologies. It is clearly a signal that China intends to further solidify its position in the AI race, focusing, among others, on boosting its chip industry. So, what I'm about to say next can be easily applied to the situation. To be clear, the implicit call to the other players is crystal clear. Are you in or are you out? Therefore, my first question isn't issued from a sci-fi movie or from some fantastical tale ripped from the Matrix. Rather, the question stems out a serious need and an urgency. It's not that some program possessed a purpose, life, and a face. This is about proactively avoiding the Kodak moment within our respective industries, and about your nation avoiding the declining slope of Ray Dalio's big cycle. And now, a critical fact. The Ray Dalio's big cycle talks about that clinging to outdated models in the face of transformative technology is a path toward obsolescence. It will impact the present and the future of entire nations. Because the end game is that AI agents are not just changing today, they are architecting the future of nations. Now, how does a nation architect their sovereignty? In other words, how are nations industrializing intelligence? Well, it all boils down to a process, and I'm about to guide you through it. In November 2024, I had the privilege of delivering a second course on digital sovereignty at the University of Luxembourg. I emphasized that the current shift toward advanced AI, especially generative AI, represents a paradigm shift unlike before. But what does that mean concretely? Because for the first time in history, humanity has gained access to the near infinite scalability of human-level intelligence. Couple this with the rapid advancements in robotics, and this same scalability is now within reach for physical jobs. Let's dig into the architecture of AI digital sovereignty. Digital sovereignty in the age of AI is a battle for access to the industrialization of productivity. And this AI digital sovereignty can be seen as scaffolding built of core capabilities. One needs to start with cloud computing. More precisely, the foundational infrastructure is the bedrock upon which all AI operations rest. Secondly, a real and big component of any company should involve the AI foundation model inference. If you ask me, that's where the raw intelligence is refined, like a rigorous academy shaping the minds of future digital workers. Third ingredient to get you ready to become a power is to develop amazing talent pools. Basically, you'll need the irreplaceable human capital, the architects, engineers, data scientists, and strategists who drive innovation. Now, you need those individuals to become master craftspeople, those who forge the tools and conduct the symphony of progress. This brings us to our fourth point. It involves chip manufacturing, with the ability to produce advanced CPU, GPU, and specially designed AI chips. Last but not least, to architect the sovereignty, one must create systems of funding and investments. Now, it seems really basic and obvious to say, but you really want to build an ability to finance a long-term, consistent, and high-level commitment toward AI capabilities. As I've said earlier, the goal of this digital sovereignty isn't merely about isolated components, but how these elements interconnect and reinforce each other. And how do you achieve true AI digital sovereignty? Well, there's no magical recipe. You simply need to focus on your culturally aligned AI, its creation, its deployment, and its evolution into a self-sufficient ecosystem, a virtuous cycle where each element reinforces the others. Europe was initially late, but it doesn't mean that things are not about to change. The next cycle would only have some kind of competition. So let's focus on resources accessibility by programming the world from its base. And this would start by AI permeating in the daily lives. The question is this: if all these pillars are intertwined and mutually reinforcing, isn't the real game now about reaching a critical mass? One that demands investing hundreds of billions of euros to unlock a new era of abundance? So this part marks a decisive moment in tech history. I can assure you, this new era will dramatically amplify human capacity, allowing us to achieve even more ambitious objectives.